All right, I have 7 o'clock, so we'll get started. I want to welcome all of you tonight. We're glad you're here. I'm Karen Hansen, Marketing and Communication Manager for Can Do Canines, and I'll be presenting the questions that we have this evening. We want to thank those of you who submitted them ahead of time. That helps us out a lot. We did receive quite a few. A lot of you seem very interested in this topic, which we love. So we will get started with addressing those shortly after we hear from both Jeff and Katie. But we're glad that these are such popular sessions. At last count, we had over 100 people registered for this one. So good to see so many of you joining already, I see. If you do have a question you would like to submit during our time, you can do so by clicking the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen and typing in that question. We'll get to as many of those as we can before 8 o'clock. I would hold off maybe a little bit just to make sure we don't cover it in what is originally said and the questions we had previously. So then if you would like to use closed captioning, that is available. Just click on the live transcript icon and select show subtitle. I also want to acknowledge Heidi, who's here as our ASL interpreter this evening. So thank you, Heidi. So with that, I'm going to just tell you briefly, Jeff Johnson has been our executive director now for nearly 2 years, and he will share some updates with us. Also with us this evening is Katie Rickert, our kennel manager, and she's been in that role for just over a year and has done an absolutely amazing job keeping things running very smoothly. Prior to coming to us, Katie was in the doggy daycare world and is well versed in caring for dogs. I guess you could say maybe that Katie is bilingual and that she not only speaks English, but also communicates so effectively with our canine coworkers. So I know you will enjoy hearing what she has to offer tonight. So I am going to go behind the scenes now and turn this over to Jeff.
Thank you. Thanks, Karen. Thank you and Peter and Katie for all giving us your evening tonight and helping out with this. And thank you, Heidi, for being our interpreter tonight. We appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us and for your interest in Can Do Canines or your support of Can Do Canines. I know we have clients on the line. I know we have a lot of volunteers on the line and some donors and maybe others who are just curious about us. So thank you for tuning in and thank you for your interest. You catch us at a pretty exciting time at Can Do Canines. It's maybe a little bit of a crazy time here too. We just have a lot going on, and I'm not going to fill you in on all of it because I think a lot of it will come up during questions, but just a couple thoughts. We have a lot of really kind of fun, exciting, helpful partnerships that we are just entering into and a few others on the horizon. Best Buy is one of them that I'll talk more about if the question comes up. We have a partnership now with Affinity Plus, which is one of the largest credit unions in Minnesota. We've got a partnership now with the Minnesota Twins, which we're really excited about. We're working with a couple of larger places of worship that want to work with us on different volunteer things, as well as a few other potential corporate partnerships on the horizon. So that is exciting. Our Woofaroo, many of you were there. That was just a few weeks ago. It was the most successful Woofaroo we've ever had. So thank you for your support in that. We've been trying something new the last year or so. We used to every quarter or so, we would have a tour and then a presentation for people who wanted to come into the facility and learn more about us, maybe potential clients or potential volunteers. And we decided about a year ago to change that to an open house. And so I think we've done 3 or 4 of them now, and they've been a huge success. We've had, I believe, over 100 people at all of them. And we have another one coming up on November 12th, which is a few Saturdays away from noon to 2. And I really encourage you to stop by or to tell your friends who might be interested in us to stop by, because we will have clients from each of the 5 different disabilities we serve there with their dogs to talk to potential clients. We'll have demonstrations for people who might want to become a client, and another one for people who might want to become a volunteer, as well as volunteers there and our staff. So it's just it's a casual, fun event, and I encourage you to help us get more people to it, because we are learning from this that we're gaining volunteers and clients both from it. And then finally, I think I spent quite a bit of time with Julianne 6 months ago when we last did this, talking about these new areas of facility dogs and skilled home companions, and they are well on their way. Again, I'll talk about them more if a question comes up, but just know that it's going well, and we're really excited about both of those new programs. The only thing I want to add is just to address an issue that I know is on the minds of some people, especially some of our volunteers, because I've been hearing it from you the last few months. And that is probably for the last 8 months, maybe even longer than that, maybe the last year or so, we have had more dogs in our kennel than what we would like. And our time to match a dog with a person is a bit later than what we would ideally like. I think we are in the past used to right around 2 years to match dogs with clients. Lately, it's been closer to 2.5 years, maybe even a little bit further than that for some. And I want you to know that's not intentional. It's not a change in policy. It's not really what we want to do, but it's just the reality right now as we continue to climb out of COVID very slowly, it seems. I think it was at this session a year ago or so that I told you all that our biggest challenge at Can Do Canines is that we didn't have enough clients. We had more dogs ready for service than we had clients ready to accept them and move out into the world. And that was because of COVID, and it was universal. Every assistance dog organization I talked to a year ago was having exactly the same problem. That is better now, partly because COVID is further behind us, partly because Karen and her team have gone way above and beyond in helping us recruit more clients. It's not perfect, but it's better. Our biggest problem now is that we don't have enough volunteers to take the dogs that we do have. And that's also a pretty universal problem for assistance dog organizations. In fact, probably for every organization in America right now, that everything I read is that everyone is having a terrible time finding volunteers because people are out of the habit of volunteering. So finding new people to bring in to volunteer is much more difficult than it was pre-COVID. And also because the world has opened up over the last year. And so our current volunteers are actually able to go out and take vacations that maybe they haven't taken in 2 years or 2.5 years, which means that if we don't have people to pull in to replace them when they need someone to take the dog, it just obviously exacerbates the problem. So know that it's not intentional. It's not a change in policy that we have more dogs in kennel and that we're matching dogs later. We're making progress. It will get better. And I just want to thank you all, especially volunteers, for the grace that you've given to staff on all this, because it can be stressful for them. I know it's going to get better, and we are working very hard on that one. So with that, I'm excited to introduce Katie Rickert, who Karen already introduced as our kennel manager, and let her tell you just a little bit about what the kennel is like, and then we can open it up to questions. So Katie, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I am very happy to be here and answer all of your questions. I'm going to start off with just telling you guys a little bit about a day in the life of a kennel dog that's here for final training. I typically have kennel staff that arrives at the building here at 6:30 a.m. At that point, we start our first round of potty out so that everyone who held it all night long has a chance to go out and go potty. That usually goes till about 7:30. From 7:30 to 8, we make their breakfast, get them all ready for a big meal for the morning. And then from 8 to 8:30, we feed all the dogs breakfast. The dogs are fed individually, so they live with roommates, and we separate them so that they can be fed alone. After feeding time is when we take over for cleaning and kind of get our first deep clean in for the day. The cleanliness of the kennel is of the utmost importance for all of our kennel staff, so it's something that we really take our time to do in the morning. The cleaning process includes hosing all of our runs down, spraying some soap down that is veterinary recommended and pet safe. We then scrub all of our runs as well as the walls that are in the runs, and then hose them down once again. Then we start the drying process with some fans and what we call the kennel towel shuffle, just to kind of make sure we really get all those wet spots up before we bring the dogs back inside. While we're cleaning, the dogs hang out in the outdoor run. In the summer, it's a very nice space for them. We have some garage doors out there that we can open up for them so that they have the view of the outside and some visual stimulation, as well as some different scents that they can smell. In the winter, while they're out there, we do have heaters for them so they stay nice and cozy. From 9:30 to 10, we kind of bring the dogs all back in and get them ready for the day. And then at that point is when we get ready for group play, which is kind of the time for the dogs to just be dogs. We break them down into different groups that they can play with while they're outside. The groups go from 10 to 12 every day. At that point at noon, we then bring all the dogs back in. We then do a quick potty out for the dogs so that they have another opportunity to go outside to go potty, since a lot of times during group, they're a little excited, so they're more so into play than they are to do their business. So from 12 to about 12:30 is when we do their extra potty outs. From 1 to about 3 o'clock, we have walkers that come and give the dogs a 10-minute walk around our campus. It's also time for my kennel staff to do some different deep cleaning projects. All of the crates that come back from the fosters or prisons, my kennel staff here is in charge of helping clean those and keep them all organized. From about 2:30 to 3 is kind of their finishing up walk time / they're kind of just their time to take a little break for the afternoon if they're not with their trainer. And then at 3 o'clock, they get another potty out, so another chance to get out of their run and go out and do any business that they have to do. From 4 to 4:30, we make their dinners so that they have a nice full belly for dinner. And then at 5 o'clock, we feed the dogs, same process as the morning. From 6 to 6:45, we like to give the dogs about an hour of just relaxing time before they play. So we minimize any chances of bloat or them getting sick from not having time to digest their food. So at 7 o'clock, the groups start for the nighttime. Groups go from 7 to 9. They get a chance to play with their friends again. And then at 9 o'clock, we do another round of final potty out so that everyone has a chance to go busy once again. And then at 9:30, we do kind of a final walkthrough, make sure that all the dogs are ready for sleep and tucked in nice and tight. And then we shut the building down and my staff goes home. So with that, I will pass it back to Karin and let her just kind of get the questions started.
All right. That was a great summary, Katie. A couple of us around here have heard that before. Katie's done some other presentations, and it's always fun to hear what goes on day to day back in the kennel. I know that was maybe a lot to take in, so we're going to break it down a little bit. We did have a lot of questions come in on some of those topics that you briefly covered there. So before you submit more questions, hang with us a little bit as we delve through some of that a little bit more. So Katie, you mentioned about the dogs going out after they get fed in the morning. And so maybe with that, how much playtime during a typical weekday do the dogs get?
So the dogs get about a half hour to 40 minutes of free playtime. It kind of varies depending on how many dogs we have in the kennel at the time, as well as the amount of groups. So when dogs come in for final training, myself and the assistant manager test new dogs with each other to see who enjoys playing with who the best, and then we make groups out of those dogs. So it depends on the amount of groups that we have for the day, but anywhere from a half hour to 40 minutes a day is their time for free play outside.
Great. And then maybe we covered the playtime. How about the work time? How much time during a typical day does a dog in for final training train with a trainer?
Yeah, so the trainers here pull the dogs out throughout the day when they're here for their shift. The dogs work with their trainers anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. There can be that quite of a large span of time there because sometimes they're working on simple tasks with their trainer, some easy mobility skills. Other times the trainers take the dogs on outings where they're out in public and it's a little bit longer of a training session. Every day is different, and every day they work with all of their dogs every day. All of our dogs get worked every day, but the amount of time that they're out is usually anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours.
Okay, great. Someone had asked previously, do you have volunteers that assist you in the kennel area? Sounds like you do. If so, what exactly are their responsibilities?
Yes, we love all of our volunteers that come and help us out. They're incredibly helpful in the kennel. All of our dogs get walked, like I said, from about 1:30 to 3:30, dependent on the number. That is all done by volunteers. We have a set of about I believe 15 walkers at the moment that come. Every walkers take their own little day and come and walk the dogs. They get about a 10 to 15 minute walk around campus. It's a great time for the dog to be out of the run. We also do have volunteers that come and help groom the dogs. They get a list of different dogs that could just use a little brushing or some nails, and just a little extra snuggle time with the groomer. We also have volunteers that do outings with our dogs. So they come 4 to 5 times a week to take the dogs on different outings. Outings are usually about an hour long. An outing can be anything from going to Target to going to lunch, just to work on some different mobility skills that any skills that the trainer has asked them to work on. But we have lots of volunteers that help us out. Nothing specifically kennel related because of the training that goes in behind it, but in the aspects of working with the dogs, lots of volunteer opportunities.
Okay. Is there a volunteer sign up for walking, playing, or helping with the training in the dogs? Maybe you want to explain how that process a little?
Yeah, so if you would like to find out some more information about different volunteer opportunities that we have, you can go to our website. There is a little tab at the top of our website that says Get Involved. And then I believe it says Campus Opportunities. That will have a list of different volunteer opportunities that we have for if we're looking for more groomers. We usually always have walking spots open for volunteers to join for that. We always post for new positions on there, so that's a great place to check.
All right. We've had a couple of people ask about weekends too, so let's start with this. Someone said, I know dogs are walked every weekday afternoon. What kind of exercise and individual attention do they get on the weekends?
Our weekends are very similar to our weekdays. My staff is not on as tight of a schedule as we are during the week, so the dogs have a little bit more playtime outside. We have more of an opportunity to take time to really leave them outside and give them all the attention while we can on the weekends. But their day looks pretty much the same as it does during the week. We wake them up, go busy, go back into a run, eat breakfast, group play, and then they wait for the night staff to come and they get the same kind of schedule.
Okay. And how about those dogs in for final training? Do they ever need or get a weekend kennel break? Could they go home with staff or volunteers maybe on weekends?
Yes, we do kennel breaks quite frequently for the dogs. Depending on the amount of time they're here, or if we just are noticing we think this dog could use a little bit of a break. We never leave them in the kennel for too long, so they do go out for kennel breaks frequently. As of right now, we have not done weekend foster breaks in a while, but that is something that we would love to bring back, just to be able to get the dogs out of the kennel just for a quick weekend. And sometimes that's a little bit easier on fosters to take them just for a few days. A typical kennel break foster for final training dogs is about 2 weeks. They go out again pretty frequently for those 2-week breaks just to kind of decompress and get out of their run.
Okay. Once a dog does go in for final training, how long does it typically take before they are placed? And is it hard for the dogs to adjust after that long in the kennel?
It takes about the same amount of time for a dog to adjust to a kennel as it does to adjusting into a new foster home. We have some amazing client service coordinators here that really provide a lot of post move-in support to any of the clients when they first move in. They help with any of the helping to get dogs settled, things like that. The dogs usually stay in the kennel from anywhere to 4 months to 6 months. It's really dependent on their career path. Some of our careers, such as hearing or seizure work or even diabetes alert, sometimes their skills are a little bit more challenging, so it takes them a little bit longer to learn, so they can be in the kennel longer than a mobility dog per se. But yeah.
Katie, can you speak to dogs that are in final training, do they ever go out to prisons at that point, or are they done with that part of
They do
training?
not go from the final training to prison. It's usually something that they would do before arriving to the kennel for final training.
Okay. And then a couple of people want to know just what the number is in the kennel right now. How many dogs do we have in there? And well, let's just start with that. How many dogs?
Yeah, I currently have 25 dogs in the kennel. And average has been about 25 to 28. Every now and again, we do have a foster home or a dog that can't find a foster home for a specific night. So we have a lot of dogs that come to the kennel just for a quick stay, just until we can find them a more permanent position for a foster. But yeah, we've been ranging from about 24 to 28 dogs in the kennel for final training.
Okay, so that keeps your staff quite busy. Can you tell us a little more about the staff members that you have, the number of people, how many shifts it takes to cover the dogs so effectively?
Yeah, I currently have 8 staff. I have 4 full-time staff, including myself, and then I have 5, the rest of them would be part-time staff. Having full-time staff is newer to the Can Do Canines kennel. That is something I have really been pushing for since I've been here. It really keeps consistency among the dogs. Our shifts are broken into 2 shifts a day. So we have an AM shift that is here from 6:30 to 2:30, and then our PM shift is here from 2:30 to 9:30. So the dogs have kennel staff that are here throughout the entire day if they ever need anything or if the trainers ever need help with anything. But the kennel staff definitely stays busy between caring for all of the dogs that stay here and taking care of extra cleaning tasks to help Can Do Canine stay on top of stuff. We definitely keep busy.
All right, question for Jeff. How you doing? Katie's
Hey.
very popular.
I know, okay, everybody loves Katie.
We'll throw a question at you and give Katie just a quick breather here. But Jeff, this came in of are graduates required to pay for all their dogs' expenses, food, the vet care, and medications? And do we somehow make them prove that they're financially able to do that?
Well, the answer to both is approve is a strong word, but the answer to the first half is yes, clients are responsible for all expenses with respect to the dogs once the team is certified. So until that date, we are still responsible for the dog, but after that, there is an agreement that they will cover, they'll pay for all the food and the medication and the vet expenses, which, is not cheap. We ask as part of their written application what their yearly household income is. And then during the interview, and we have a pretty robust process of interviewing potential clients and doing checks with people that they know. For example, we do ask that they do ask if they feel that they're ready for the added expense of a dog, and we kind of tell them what we expect those costs to be. And we ask how they would cover it if there were a medical emergency, because even though the dogs that we place are healthy dogs, we tend to career change those dogs that we know are going to have some sort of health issues. You just never know. They're living beings, and sometimes something goes wrong. And so they will answer those questions, and we expect that they will answer them honestly. If after those conversations we have concerns about that, then we will ask for letters of financial support from friends and or family who will say, in the event this happens, we will be able to support that dog.
All right, thank you for that, Jeff. Katie, back to you here. I like this one. With the number of dogs in the kennel, how do you deal with, quote, the business end of things, as we tell dogs to go do their business? We're talking on that topic. Do you have multiple doggy dualies or something similar?
We have what we call here the poopulator. It is something that Al Peters, that founder of Can Do Canines, has drawn up and had built for the kennel. If you have volunteered in the kennel, you may have seen it. It's kind of hidden next to our sink. It is basically a giant toilet for dog poop, but it's very environmentally friendly. Everything that we flush goes right down into the sewer system. We use less bags then so that we're not wasting plastic. It's an amazing invention, and it actually does not smell. I know it sounds like flushing all the dog business down there might sound like it smells, but it's a very clean product. It's a very good design that he had made up.
Right.
Let me just add something to that. So some of the people watching this have been in the kennel. I'm sure we've got some dog walkers and others who've been in there, but my guess is most have not. And that whole kennel is absolutely amazing. You expect to walk in and maybe get a bit of a whiff, and our kennel staff keeps that kennel so clean. It has no odor at all. And part of that is using the poopulator, I'm sure, but another big part of it is how much time you put into not just cleaning that place every day, but deep cleaning that place every day. So it's impressive. And when we have even people from other assistance dog organizations that come in, number one, they see our kennel and see how well it was designed. It is kind of state of the art. And also how thorough our kennel staff is. Your whole team, Katie, they're impressed with that. So you should be proud of your team for that.
Yeah, I will concur. There's no smell back there. Let's move off that topic though, shall we? How about, will a kennel dog always get a roommate to snuggle with in their kennel?
We do try to always have roommate pairs so that the dogs don't get lonely while they're living here. They also love the companionship when having a roommate. Sometimes we have an odd number of dogs, so we'll have a dog that will be alone just for a few days until we have a new dog come in for final training. Every now and again, we do have a dog that may guard their food or other high value toys while they're in their run. So we do sometimes have dogs that have to be alone for reasons like that. But for the most part, all of our dogs here have roommates.
Okay. And how about, along with their roommate, what other kinds of things are in the kennel with them? Do they get any toys with them or other objects?
Each of our runs gets a raised bed that is big enough for even our big labs to lay on with each other. It's raised about 4 inches off the ground with a nice soft cloth cover to it on the top that is scratch and dog resistant. They also get a nylabone, 1 per dog is what they're allowed to have in their run. Every now and again, the dog here will get a Kong, but that is if they're roomed alone for any reason, they'll have a Kong that they can chew on for a little bit. But we do keep it to just a nylabone and a raised bed for each dog.
Okay. Somebody also asked about any other enrichment activities that might occur with the dogs in training, maybe other than the playtime and the walks, maybe outings or anything else like that that you can go into more detail about.
Yeah, we try and do as much extra enrichment here as we can. One of the things that we do here is a food enrichment. It's small and simple, but every morning the dogs get a little something extra added to their food, whether it be chicken broth, beef broth, a small little milk bone, or a very tiny treat. We try and do that for them every morning. We also do some scent enrichment. So we have some lavender and chamomile spray that we will spray in the run. We do that a couple times a week so that they're getting their scent enrichment as well. We do love to open up the run doors and the garage doors outside, so the dogs actually have access to their indoor run, their outdoor run, and then can see out into the outdoor world. That's great visual stimulation as well as different scents that they can smell while they're out there. Also, once a week, we do what we call decompression time. So on top of playing with their groups, I have a full-time staff member here that will bring them to a quiet room and just give them some extra snuggles, some extra pets. It's about 15 minutes of just extra quiet time and really bonding with the dog. So we consider that some extra enrichment as well.
Nice. Someone asked then about the actual kennel size, since there are 2 dogs in each one. Do you happen to know dimensions, or can you explain a little bit about the size that the dogs have to live in?
Yeah, I do not have the exact dimensions on me. That is something I should have came with, but they're about 4 feet wide by 5 to 6 feet long. They're quite big. There's plenty of room for both dogs too. Sometimes we even find them wrestling in there, even with the bed in there. There's plenty of space for the dogs. When we're able to open up that outdoor run as well, they have lots of space to wander around.
It's, I'm always amazed at, you go back there and they're as close to each other as they can be anyway. It seems a lot of the time.
Yeah, to lay right on top of each other, even with all the space that they have. So
Exactly. All right. Someone asked, is it okay to take a program dog to a groomer for nail trims?
yes, absolutely. You can, most groomers are going to ask that you give them a certified rabies certificate. If you are interested in bringing a program dog to a groomer, you can email the puppy program portal and they can get you their rabies vaccine so that they can get you set up for that so you can bring them in.
Okay. Someone was asking if the dogs rotate through trainers at all. Can you speak at all about the training to the dog to trainer process and ratio,
Yeah.
things like that?
Most of our dogs work with the same trainer while they're here, just for the sense of or point of consistency. Most dogs work best when they have that bond. So when the dogs arrive for final training, it's up to our training manager to decide which dog's going to go with which trainer. So they do stick with that trainer up until they move out. And then the client service coordinators are the ones that help the dog when they are actually with their client.
Okay. Can you speak a little more about the length of time that a dog might be in final training before it's matched? Is it concerning at all if a dog is with us back in the kennel for maybe even 6 months, or is that maybe typical?
It does happen. Some of our dogs, it takes just a little bit more time to find them that perfect client so that we set them up for success. Our trainers do a lot of work with them when they're here for final training to really figure out what these dogs really love to do and want to do for the rest of their lives. So the trainers do a lot of work with them to see what skills are going to work best for this dog. And then we have to wait for the client that will also match that so that they set them up for success. Some of our dogs can stay here for a little bit longer than 6 months. We do give them frequent kennel breaks while they're here for that period of time until we can kind of figure out a game plan for them.
Okay. I'll give you another quick breather, Katie. I'm going to go to Jeff with one. Jeff, question for you is, are you having the same problem as everyone else in finding staff members when you have an open position? You mentioned a little bit with volunteers earlier, but address this side of it.
It's difficult. I would say that we probably don't have quite the same level as certainly the private sector does. And part of that is just our mission. We're a pretty unique organization. So you get dogs, you get a prison program, you get to help people with disabilities. So I think that helps us compared to a bank or a law firm or Target or a grocery store trying to hire people. Is there's kind of a built-in mission and meaning to people's work. Having said that, it's just the world right now that the marketplace for employees has just changed dramatically in the last few years. I think it started before COVID, and then COVID has made it even more difficult. And employees just don't stay as long as they used to. That is just the reality of every organization I talk to. And it is harder to find people to fill positions. We've been pretty lucky. We've had some turnover, but I'd say it's probably lower turnover than most other organizations that I know. We never like to have turnover. We never like to have anybody leave, but sometimes something exciting comes up for someone that just fits them better, and you have to support that and cheer them on as they move on. And then filling the position is difficult. And we've, our volunteers certainly know that we have been without a volunteer coordinator for a few weeks now. And Lori our volunteer, or our outreach coordinator, has been filling both those roles for a period of time. We're very thankful that she's here to help us with that. We feel like we're making progress there, and hopefully we'll have someone soon. But it just hasn't been easy. So I wouldn't say we have the same problem as everybody else, but I think it's a lot harder than it used to be to fill positions when they do open up. It's the way of the world right now.
Okay. Katie, I want to go back again. We touched on this a little bit, but do the dogs go anywhere else before moving into their client's home once they're in for final training? Talked about prisons specifically, but were there other things?
Once the dog is here for final training, they again go out for frequent kennel breaks. Some of our dogs go to a short prison stay. We call it prison boot camp, just to help them get some more of their basic skills if needed. That doesn't happen very often. Other than that, the dogs typically stay in the kennel, especially once they've been matched with their client. We love to have them easily accessible to our trainers, especially once they meet their client. Once the client has some time to bond with the dog, maybe they'll think of a new skill that they would find useful for them in their home, or a skill that they don't think that the dog quite has it yet. So, or they need to revise that the way the dog goes about it so that it's more successful for the client. So we'd like to have them here so that they have trainers have easy access to them. And then as well as they go through the training with their clients for about 2 weeks off and on. So we love to keep them here so that they're easily accessible.
Okay. And Jeff, I'm going to go to you with this one. Have we ever considered holding puppy training classes in other parts of the metro?
Yes, this would be before my time because it was pre-COVID, but I know that they did do some training classes both in Minneapolis and down in Burnsville or Bloomington, I believe it was. I think the turnout, my understanding is the turnout in Minneapolis was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. And the Southern Metro was not good, but a few people did show up, and then COVID hit. So we are reassessing all that. And I do believe that they do have different outings around the metro kind of on a rotating basis right now. I think as we move further past COVID, maybe that will become a little more of a regular thing. But we do know that some volunteers have to drive a long way to come to a class here. And we recognize that. I think it's one of the reasons that we keep thinking about whether we can offer classes at least on an occasional basis online, and we'll continue to think about maybe giving classes outside of our office here in New Hope to just make it a little more convenient for some of our volunteers.
I'm going to throw another one at you, Jeff. You talked last time that we had these virtual conversations, I think is what they mean, about a committee looking at future growth. Has there been any decisions about that?
No decisions yet. So just to remind everybody, or to tell people who don't know, we went through a year-long strategic planning process last year and came up with an awesome 3 to 5 year strategic plan that dealt with a lot of things and focused especially on how do we better do what we already do. So how do we better serve our clients? How do we better engage our volunteers? How do we better engage our employees and support our employees? How do we raise our profile and reach into communities that we haven't been able to reach into before? And then finally, how can we be more innovative and creative and serve people in different ways? And all of those things have been bearing fruit over the course of this year. And it's a lot of the exciting things that I mentioned at the beginning. The one question that we intentionally did not address in that strategic plan was, how big do we want to be? How many teams do we want to have? So this year we'll have probably right around 50. Ideally, we'd have just over 50 teams. You never know because the end of the year is always a little unpredictable, but that's kind of where we hope we will be. And that would be consistent with the last 2 or 3 years, save for last year, which was just a little low because of COVID. What we didn't address in that strategic plan is, do we want to stay right around 50? Do we want to be at 60? Do we want to be at 100 and be one of the biggest? I mean, we're already probably one of the 10 largest in the country, but do we want to be one of the 4 or 5 biggest in the country? And I think we have a lot of differing opinions on that. And so what we decided to do, because growth in the past in this organization has been very organic, I would say. It's, well, let's grow a little bit this year. Let's grow a little bit this year. We've raised more money, so we can maybe hire a couple more employees and we can grow a little bit bigger. What this group is trying to do is to kind of set the parameters for growth strategically. So in the next 8 to 10 years, where do we really want to be? And the big question is, what will that cost us? So if we want to grow in some significant way, and I'm not saying we will, but that is what some people would like to do, what would it cost us? What are the risks to that, and what changes do we need to make as an organization to do that responsibly so that we don't our quality doesn't suffer because of it? We don't overwork our employees. We actually have enough volunteers to do what we need to do. And I think this committee in the next couple months will probably have its final report, and that report will essentially set forth for the board of directors, here's essentially what the costs would be in dollars, in volunteers, in staff, in order for us to grow to 60, in order for us to grow to 75, in order for us to grow to 100. And the costs and the risks, if we're talking about those higher numbers, are quite significant. But I think it's important that the board, before making these decisions, knows all of these things, and they agree with that. It's the reason that they are supporting this, and some members are actually on this work group, and it will lead to next year a really exciting discussion about who do we want to be in 8 to 10 years. And some people will want to stay about the same and just grow in small increments over time. And that might be where we end up, and others will feel differently. So this will allow us to do so in a strategic and really responsible manner, so that if the number is bigger, we know exactly what we need to do in order to do that without sacrificing our quality and really what has made this place special over the last 32 years.
Okay. I want to go back to Katie with this one. Katie, when the dogs do maybe get a little break from being in the kennel, do those dogs get listed on the fostering opportunities emails that go out to people, the volunteers, or is that handled in a different way?
That to have a more clarified answer would be best for the training manager. I can, however, say that a lot of our dogs that are using have kennel breaks, we have certain fosters in mind. So a lot of times we'll reach out to certain people, just thinking that'd be a great fit for them. We also have a great group of staff that offer to take some of our dogs home for kennel breaks. So if you haven't seen them on the list, they could have possibly gotten asked by directly to a volunteer, or have gone with a kennel, an office staff, or even a kennel staff member.
Guilty as charged. I know I've done that and loved it. All right, so let's go on with you again, Katie, on this one. Do you know of any chance of making training groups for dogs and owners?
That would be a puppy program question. I don't know a ton about the different classes that puppy program offers yet. They, if you reach out to their puppy program, are a part of the puppy program portal. A list of different training classes that we have are listed.
Okay, great. I guess either one of you, whichever one of you wants to chime in on this one, of how many trainers we have.
We have 3 trainers and a training manager. So and Katie, you're probably closer to this than I am, but the 3 trainers are every day working with multiple dogs multiple times a day. But I believe it's 3 right now. That's right, isn't it, Katie?
Yes. Yep. We have 3. Yep, and they each trainer has a set of dogs that is given to them when they come in for final training. We assign the dog to a certain trainer, and then that trainer pulls that dog out for training multiple times a day to get them all of their skills.
All right. Jeff, I wanted to ask you on here, what volunteer positions are in the greatest need currently?
Puppy raisers. So short-term and long-term puppy raisers, whether it is people who want to take a dog for a year and a half or 2 years, or want to take a dog for a month, or want a puppy sit for a few days. Every one of those positions, I would say we would be thrilled to have more people. And excuse me, I think that there's been a pretty significant effort, Karen, you've been a big part of this, in trying to reach new people to be volunteers. And that is where we've really put the greatest focus. And I think anybody who is a current volunteer recognizes the need, because we're just constantly asking, hey, you know, we need more homes for these dogs, whether it's very short term or very long term. So, you know, if there's one ask I have tonight of supporters, it is, if you know of somebody who might be interested, might even just want to dip their toe in the water and say, I'll take a dog for a weekend and see what it's like, just really encourage them to take a look at our website and sign up, because it is, I mean, it's by far the greatest need we have right now.
Okay. Very good. Jeff, I want to ask you this question that came in. As you train dogs to work in more institutional settings, will there be any changes in how puppies will be raised? For example, will they be allowed to be pets on the leash so they're used to that attention?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Pet on the leash.
I'm sorry, that again?
I'm sorry, I think I read that incorrectly. Will they be allowed to be pet while they're on the leash?
Yep. Yeah, no, and I get that. I don't know the answer to that question, and it will be in the end, you know, a decision over time, I think, by our training staff and our program staff who are with those dogs every day. But as we do expand the facility dog program, obviously those jobs are quite different. They're still assistance dogs. We still train them for specific physical tasks. They're not emotional support dogs or therapy dogs, even though an emotional support might be a big piece of what they do. But their jobs are different because they don't have one person. They live with one person who is their handler and brings them into work every day, but they probably will serve 4 or 10 or 20 people every single day. So I am guessing that there probably will be some changes to how we want to do training. The problem is you don't know that a dog is going to be a facility dog until probably very, very late in the process. We certainly wouldn't know when a dog is a puppy and either starts out in prison or at a Great Start home that, well, this is going to be a facility dog. That's going to be a decision that's made, you know, probably about the same time as they're being placed. The decisions being made as to whether they'll be a mobility dog or a diabetes assistant. So I can't see there being a significant change for early facility dog training because we won't know who they are, but we might over time make some small changes overall to training, just knowing that, especially if more and more of our dogs go into facilities.
We have more coming in for you, Jeff. So I want to ask, are all of the trainers able to train in all of the program areas, or do they specialize?
They are all, there may be some specialties, but they all can train in all areas. They're pretty talented staff we have. We're lucky.
And going back to volunteering, do you have to live in the metro area to be a puppy raiser?
No, you do not. I mean, it probably makes life a lot easier, but we need, long-term puppy raisers. I was going to say we need puppy raisers in Wisconsin too, but long-term would probably be difficult, but we certainly need short-term fosters in Wisconsin if you're anywhere near any of the 3 prisons that we have there. But you don't have to live strictly in the metro. The further away you get, the harder it's going to be to bring the dog in for training. But certainly if you lived out in the exurbs, or if you have a way to get in for that training every other week or so, I think we could manage that.
Jeff, if the goal for client teams is 50 this year, how many puppies need to be born each year to feed into those client teams? LOL, it does say.
LOL, because that person knows I can't answer that question, probably. I'm guessing that's where the LOL comes from. I was almost going to make a guess, but that would be very irresponsible. So I'm going to have to leave that one open. And if we know who it's from, I will get them an answer.
All right. Katie, I'm going to feed a question to you, and partly because I'm going to queue up myself a little bit on this one. But how long does it take for those Labradors in final training to eat their bowl of food?
Oh, they are quick eaters. I would say maybe 10 seconds. And they're pretty quick eaters. If we have any labs here that we noticed are really inhaling their food, are eating very fast, we do use slow feed bowls, just like in multiple volunteer foster homes. They use them as well, but those come in very handy. It is basically a bowl with a little bubble in the middle of it, so the dogs kind of have to eat around. They don't have just the full option to dive right in. But yes, they are very quick eaters. Feeding time is probably the quickest part of our day.
And I alluded to somewhat of an ulterior motive there, but I want to mention to people that we have been taking some video footage of that whole feeding process. Katie, did you mention the magic that happens in order for the dogs to eat? I may have missed that.
I don't think we might have missed that one. So while the dogs are here for final training, the feeding process, we have a little food cart that we roll around from our kennel kitchen to the kennel once all their meals are made. Their bowls are placed in front of their run doors with the door shut. Each dog has a little kennel card with their name on it and their breed, so their food goes right in front of their kennel card on the floor. At that point, the kennel staff waits for the entire kennel to be quiet. All at the same time, all at once. It can be a very brief period of time, but we do wait for them to all stop barking. They're completely silent before we go ahead and feed them. Same process happens at night. Nighttime can take a little bit longer because they're usually pretty excited, but they do all get there eventually. We can get them all to be quiet all at the same time.
And so, as I mentioned, we will be releasing a video of what that looks like and sounds like and doesn't sound like as it is later this fall. So stay tuned for that, because we hope that it'll be pretty entertaining. A question that came in, Jeff, I'm going to go to you with this one. Someone that's new to us, welcome. They asked, why are labs the dog of choice for Can-Do Canines?
And Katie, you can feel free to jump in on this too, but that is what we breed. We breed labs and lab mixes solely. And I think just over time, our staff they feel strongly that labs, their personality just fits what we need. They are great assistance dogs. They love to work. They love to please. They're very, very food motivated, and all of our training is it's positive reinforcement training. So it's little pieces of their food, their kibble, that they get just constantly over the course of any training period or any day. And those combinations, as well as their size, because for most of our assistance dogs, having a dog of some substance and size is very helpful. So I think that's the biggest reason. We also, for our clients that have allergies, we get standard poodles donated to us on a regular basis. And they're also a larger, very smart dog. They may be a little less food motivated, but we have found that while they might be a little bit harder to train, they also make really good assistance dogs. Katie, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, their work ethic, I think, is really what does it, and their food motivation. It makes them a great option or a great breed for what we're looking for in our service dogs. They're very motivated to work and to please their client and do what they can to help. So it's a great breed for what we're looking for in our mission.
Okay. Jeff, a question on graduations. Will we ever return to the large in-person events for that?
Honestly, I don't know if our graduation will ever look quite the same as it did pre-COVID, which I was never at one, but I've seen pictures and heard all about it, where it's essentially wall-to-wall people with a big stage up front and the ceremony of passing off the dog. As I'm sure most of you know, we didn't have in-person graduations for a year or a little over a year because of COVID. We did them online. And then we opened up to in-person graduations about a year ago, maybe about a year ago, I think it was. There are quite a few assistance dog organizations that still aren't having in-person graduations. They're still doing it over Zoom. So we're ahead of some in that way, but we've made them quite small. At least in the short term. They're much more intimate affairs than what they used to be. Every one that we've done, I think we've done 3 or 4 in person now. The 4th one is coming up. Everyone's been a little bit bigger than the last. So each time we've invited more people, and the one that's coming up in 2 weeks or so will be the largest we've had since COVID hit. And our intent is to continue to grow them so that all of the volunteers who have been involved with a dog can be at that graduation, not just the ones who had the dog for a month or a year, but even those who maybe just had them for a weekend. I don't know when that will happen, but it will happen at some point. We also have to figure out, if we don't have the big stage up front, it's more of a viewing party of a video of each team, which is really pretty cool. And then a chance for the volunteers and the client and the dog to be together in a small pod and get to know each other, which the volunteers and the clients have all told us that they really like that opportunity to do that. So those pieces I think we'll still keep, but we've got lots of ideas about how to create maybe a little more energy in the room, certainly bring more people into the process and make it even more meaningful than it already is. My honest answer is, though, it probably won't look exactly like it did before ever again, because we do know that, especially when it got a bit chaotic and so full that you could hardly move, that was very stressful for the dogs. And it was very stressful for at least some of our clients as well, especially if you have mobility issues or you're a kid with autism. That wasn't always the best experience. So we're trying to find the right mix there of size and excitement and energy that still really serves the clients and the dogs the best.
All right, we still have a number of questions coming in, so we'll try to sneak a few more in these last 3 minutes or so. Katie, do the dog walkers commit to a day every week? Can you just mention the scheduling a little bit on that?
Yeah, so if you reach out to our volunteer coordinator, she can give you some of the days that we're looking for. Most of our walkers that do volunteer for us have a specific day of the week that they like to come every week and do the same walk. Some of our walkers come twice a week, but yes, they usually kind of pick a day and stick to that so that we can have a schedule.
Okay. And how about if you've can you volunteer at the kennel if you have long-term fostered a dog that is there at the kennel for final training?
We don't currently have any volunteers that are allowed to work in the kennel just because of the training that goes in behind a lot of the tasks that we do. It is something that we have considered in the past. When kennel staff, we have a harder time finding staff. So it is something we've considered, but it is not something we currently do at the moment, is having volunteers in the actual kennel. But there are lots of different opportunities, like I said, for outings or volunteer groomers, or also walking them to help out the kennel dogs.
Okay. Jeff, I'm going to push this one your way. Are puppies classified as service dogs? And the reason this person is wondering is because she lives in a condo association and wants to be able to get that exemption. The condo association does not allow pets, but if she could pursue puppy raising as a foster volunteer, would that work?
Possibly, although this very issue has come up with a volunteer who has talked to me quite a bit about it, and in the end, she put in a lot of effort with the condo association to get them to change that rule so that dogs in training were considered assistance dogs. I think technically, if you want to go strictly by the law, they could probably say no. And I don't know that it's worth a fight. It's probably not worth a fight because it just creates bad feelings. But if somebody would like to try that and would like some help with it and some advice, feel free to shoot me an email, because we did really just go through this.
And I'm going to guess that this is going to be our last question, but Jeff, I'll ask this of you. A few years ago, we had a litter of larger breed mix, Newfoundlands. Do you believe that we will do this again?
I don't know. I think that they, I've heard good things about the outcome of that. So I think it's definitely a possibility. I mean, I will leave that up to our program staff to decide whether it worked well or not, but I haven't heard complaints about it. I know that much.
All right. I just want to ask if either of you have any additional closing comments that you feel we didn't get into. We had a lot of great questions come in.
Katie, did you have
any other
anything?
things?
I don't think so. We do so much back there. So I hope we touch on most of the questions that everyone had. If there are continued questions, I'd love to answer them. If you're a volunteer walker and have questions, I'm usually always in the building during the day. So I'm happy to answer any questions that come up after this.
Thanks. And I will just add a final thank you to everybody who tuned in. And we have an amazing family at Can Do Canines, whether it's the staff or our volunteers or our clients. It's and it's not always easy and simple, and we don't always agree on everything, but it's the committed group of people we have is just amazing, and we're lucky here for that. So I just want to thank everybody for being part of Can Do Canines and everything you do for us. And thanks for tuning in tonight.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Good night.